everyone. I'm Connie Graf from Chaos to Peace Consulting, and today I'm gonna be here, if it works, if technology works, I'm gonna be here with Linda Binns, and we're gonna talk about time management, or as much as we even can manage time. Like some people say you can't manage time, but we can manage us so that we get done in time what we want to get done. So now let's see whether we can get Linda here. Welcome anyways, Linda. So we
I'm glad I got here eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
so after I talked so much now, I let you talk a little bit. Maybe you introduce yourself real quick so that my viewers that watch it on my page know who you are.
okay. My focus is on energy, and I call myself the breakthrough energy expert. So I help people when they feel stuck, and so I help them identify and then release that invisible emotional energy and emotional pain that we all carry around with us. So I help people see what that is and then let it go. And I've been working with Connie a little bit, and we've been really enjoying working together. And so we thought we'd do some weekly Facebook Lives because we enjoy talking to each other so much. So this topic of time management was something that I had struggled with for a long time, because I was trying to find the method that would work for me, you know, the time management system. And I kept thinking, well, there must be something wrong with me because I'm trying, you know, everybody else loves this system and I'm trying it, and it just always seemed like a colossal waste of time to me. You know, spending your time analyzing how much time you spent on this and how much time you spent on that, and writing everything down. And I thought, well, by the time I've done all that, I could have, you know, accomplished so much. Eventually, what I realized—
Procrastination by planning, no?
Yes. I think that maybe there is such a term like planning procrastination, or procrastination by planning, because that's really what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
And then the kind of epiphany that I had was that if I focused on managing my energy instead of managing my time, it solved everything. It just, I get so much more done in far less time by doing that. So that's what I really encourage people to do. So I guess maybe I think it'd be good to discuss that. Is that what you do? Because I know you're not a big fan of time management system things.
Yeah, so I have a similar story. So I was like, I'm a little bit of a planner junkie too. So I always see these gorgeous planners and then I think, oh, maybe that is the system now that works. And I was a little bit like you. It's like you fill in all these pages and you're focusing on your goals, and then you're all exhausted and you haven't done anything.
Right.
So yeah, I have my own system, and yeah, definitely I go by energy too. So I have like for sure I watch my energy. Like we have like these biorhythms within us that actually talk, like you have one for body, one for mind, and one for the soul. So I kind of look how these guys are doing. And if I have like a day where they're very low, I'm not gonna plan the most important task or the most important interview or most important client work right there. So that's what I do a little bit. And I do also, I go a little bit by the moon as well. That's a little bit my woo-woo part. But yeah, I feel totally that a lot of the productivity gurus and all these planner gurus, it's mostly planning to plan, and it's not really, you're not really getting anywhere. And I'm totally fell into this too, because I love all these beautiful planners and they all sound so great and they all promise you that you finally get things done. And I got done to fill out the planner, but I never got done anything that I needed to get done.
Yeah, it's it's a really difficult thing for many people. I mean, some people love them and they do really well with it and it helps them. So I think the key is to find what works for you, but don't feel bad if the time managing kind of systems don't work for you. And so I think it'd be helpful to talk about, you know, when I say manage energy, what does that mean exactly? Well, some of the things that I do, let's say I have a big list of things to do. Well, first of all, I don't like to have a big list of things to do, but occasionally I do have one. But if I do, then what I'll do is I'll look at that list and I'll ask myself, you know, what's the one thing I would really like to accomplish today, and how, you know, that I would feel really good if I got this one thing done. And so, and I just look at the list and see which one feels the best to do right now, the right thing to do. And usually what happens when I take that approach, you know, I do that and then I finish that thing and then I can move on to the next one. Sometimes I find that I'll finish most of what's on my list without even trying to finish what's on my list. See, I'm only trying to do one thing. So that really helps me. The other thing I find is to know, like you said, know your energy rhythms. So I know, for example, so I'm more of an evening person than a morning person. I'm not really good and functioning, even though I'm up, I'm not going to be really up for a good conversation like at 7 in the morning or something. I just had a podcast interview, and when I was scheduling that interview, the options were either first thing in the morning, like 7 a.m. or 9 p.m. in the evening. And I automatically went for the 9 p.m. in the evening because I have more energy and I'm more coherent, I guess, as the day goes on. But so yeah, so it's knowing your energy flows. If you're an early morning person and you know that your brain is really active and you're able to get tasks done that require a lot of thinking and analyzing, then that's the time you do those. I also know that I tend to have a dip in my energy in the middle of the day. And so that's when I'll do my meditation and, you know, things like that, sort of have some quiet time. And then my energy ramps up again in the evening. So it's knowing what that flow is for you. And there are so many people who want to say, well, you should get up at 5 and meditate for an hour and you should do this. I've tried all those things. You know, one time for a whole year, my husband gets up early and I got up early with him at 5 and exercised, because that was the thing you're supposed to do. Oh God, it was torture for me. So exercising is better for me in the afternoon or evening. So it's knowing what your energy flows are and being okay with whatever they are. That's how I kind of function.
Exactly. And oftentimes we're just, like you just said, we're listening to these gurus and everybody says like you have to get up at 5 to be highly productive, and I'm not that way. So I can get up, and once I'm up, I actually can function, but it's not, how do you say that? It's not really what I want, and I have to really beat myself out of bed. Once I'm out of bed, I'm at the high level, I have no problem, but I don't want to beat myself out of bed. So I'm also more an evening person. And interestingly, I don't have a dip in the afternoon, but I prefer to start later in the day. So like I prefer, because I have animals too. So what I do is I go out first and I take care of the animals, move my body a little bit, not sports like crazy, but I move my body a little bit, and do some stuff for myself. And then I start the day like around 9 or 10. Usually that's when I start the day. And that's how it works for me really good. And I totally agree. We shouldn't listen what other people are saying. We should rather listen to how we feel. And you can, like I said, I sometimes consult my biorhythm just to look, because sometimes I'm like, I thought I would be feeling good today, and I don't. And then I can go look and see what's going on. Well,
and another thing people often ask me is, you know, okay, I work a job, I'm at a company, and I don't have the luxury of, you know, I have these tasks I have to do, and I don't have the luxury of choosing what I'm going to do when I'm going to do it. I have to get these things done. And so how will managing my energy, you know, how can I apply that? Well, here's what, again, you know, I've been in that situation. So here's what I would recommend. And that is, you may not be able to say, oh, well, I'm not good at working with numbers first thing in the morning, for example, but I have to work with numbers first thing in the morning. So what I would do is I would make a start and well, just try and get my energy in the best place possible before I start. And that well, that goes into a whole area of self-care and how well you take care of yourself. And that's a discussion for another day. But basically making sure your energy is in a good place when you start, so you're feeling as good as you possibly can. And then what I would do is, if I get to a point where I notice I'm struggling, I'm feeling anxious or overwhelmed or anything that doesn't feel good, I would just pause for a moment. And if you are able to, what I used to do is I would go either go to the bathroom for a couple of minutes and just breathe, or I would just go for a walk around the offices and then just come back, and that kind of reset my energy. If you're not able to do that, even just pausing, close your eyes for a moment and just take a couple, 2 or 3 just slow, deep breaths, because that will help to reset your energy. And then you come back to it. So I think it's important to really pay attention to your energy all the time. And that's how you learn what works best for you and how to manage your energy effectively.
Yeah, and I would like to add here too, because a lot of people especially have problems with numbers, like they have an aversion against numbers.
Me.
And yeah, a lot of people do. And I feel like the more you're kind of trying to resist it, and the more you talk yourself into how you're hating this, what you have to do, the more energy that you would have, you actually use up on that.
Yeah.
And then it becomes more dreadful and more dreadful. So if you can get yourself into a state of mind, like declutter your brain and say, okay, we all, like, especially like when you talk about numbers, we're business owners, so look at the positive sides of the numbers. Like we wanna make money. It is part of business. Look at it more like I'm privileged to look at my numbers because I am self-employed. I have my own business, and I have a certain control and charge over these more than if I would be just an employee. So I feel like mentally getting yourself prepared and trying to not have this huge aversion that uses so much energy, and then we procrastinate possibly the long, and then in the end you have no energy and you're beating yourself up. So it's kind of like a little vicious cycle. So
yeah, it is. That's a really good point. And one of the things I like to do, if I'm going to start doing something, if I have to do something that I know can be a challenge for me, it could be numbers, it could be perhaps I have to call customer support for my computer or some technology thing or something like that, and you've got this feeling of dread, then I will set an intention before I do it, or I'll ask myself a question: how can I make this as easy as possible for me, or as enjoyable as possible for me? Or I'll set the intention that this is going to go really well. I'm going to actually enjoy doing this, and I'm going to get somebody who's really helpful on the other end of the phone. And so you set yourself up energetically before you even start. That's a really good point. And when you do that, you'll be amazed at how it can really help, and it will put you in a different energy space right away, and it can really make a big difference to the outcome.
Yeah, also time-wise, like I often say to people, or when they're dreading decluttering or whatever, I always say, like, if you don't set yourself up right, then it will take even longer, and then you kind of like you punish yourself with doing the thing that you don't really like doing too much to begin with. You punish yourself by having to deal with this even longer and even longer. Right. So I really like you say, yeah, you put an intention that it's actually going to be easy, or an intention that it's gonna just flow, that you're gonna go into a flow and it's gonna work out just fine. And then you could also, maybe, I don't know how you see that, but sometimes I say to myself too, it's like a little bit of a competition. I say, okay, when I got this done, then I'm gonna go and do something that I actually really look forward to. And sometimes we have to trick ourselves a little bit, or other people call it be our own parent. Like for a child, we would also like encourage it to do the things, and then probably promise that afterwards he or he has playtime. So that's what I do sometimes with myself. I give myself permission to go do something, but only after I did this thing, and possibly only for 15 or 20 minutes, but at least I did something, or I did what I had on my
Yeah, it really is about finding what works for you. And I think where we often fall down is, like I used to, I'm looking for that system, looking for someone to tell me this is the way to do it, and this is how it's going to work out. And I think, and sometimes we don't know what's going to work for us until we try something. And so you try it, and you know, you might have to tweak it. It might be, you just got to find what works for you. And in terms of time, one of the best things I ever heard was, it's an affirmation from Louise Hay, and it was about if you find yourself panicking because you're running out of time, or you're running late, or something like that, you just use this affirmation, and I can tell you it really works, and it's helped me every time. And it is, time expands for me. I have plenty of time.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful, because what it does is it immediately calms your body down. I've done it when I'm, you know, in a traffic jam and I'm running late for something. Yeah. I notice my anxiety starting to rise. And I just tell myself, time expands for me. I have plenty of time. I have plenty of time. And it always works out that I do. So even if I am late, usually what I find is the other person I'm meeting is late as well. And it just all works out perfectly. So
yeah,
I recommend practicing that affirmation, and it will certainly help you feel better.
Yeah, you can totally bend time too. I mean, Einstein proved that scientifically, so it's not even woo-woo. You can bend time, and it has a lot to do with your thinking. That's why I'm also saying, like, if you set yourself up mentally properly, and then it doesn't take as long as you think, because it's all going to be easier. Or if you're stuck, then you can talk to yourself with this affirmation, or like you said, if you're stuck in traffic, you can say, just not feeling like a victim. I think the minute we start feeling sorry for ourselves, start feeling like a victim, we're giving away control to everything else. And then from that point, it's really hard to get anything done, whether it's even something that we wouldn't mind too much. But the minute we're starting to feel like give up control, so we can do a lot with managing our energy, managing our brain, and having this beautiful affirmation from Louise Hay to get us through the things. Yeah.
I think the point you made there is really important too, is we have to watch our self-talk, because we do make ourselves victims, and we make out that we are not in control of time. Because people will say, I say it sometimes, and I have to reframe what I'm saying. Oh, I don't have enough time, or time always, you know, there aren't enough hours in the day. You know, what are some of the common things we say? Oh, I'm always so busy, I never have enough time, I never have enough time to do what I want to do. Pay attention to those things that you keep saying, because you are giving your power away. You are saying that you can't control your time, and you actually can. And look what you're putting your time into is another thing, because very often the people who are so busy, they don't have time. They say they don't have time to do the things they really want to do. When you ask them to really examine, well, what is it that you're actually doing, they find that they're doing a lot of things they really don't want to be doing or shouldn't be doing. And so we can make ourselves so busy as a way of avoiding, you know, what's really important to us. And so I really pay attention to that self-talk as well, because that impacts your energy and sets you up for either success or failure, depending on what you're saying to yourself.
Exactly. Words are so powerful, you know, and we actually always have control over what we need to do. It's like I heard that the other day, and I don't know what the origin is, but they're always saying, like, when we say, oh, I should do that, or I have to do that, it's also the wrong wording, because we don't have to do anything. Other than dying and paying taxes. That's the joke, no? But I mean, we really don't have to do anything. And then there's pushback. Then some people say, oh yeah, I do have to, let's, for example, say, I have to cook lunch for my kids. No, you don't. You don't have to. You choose to, because you want your kids to be fed and you want to be a good mother, you know? So, and just this slight change of wording by saying I get to, or I want to, instead of I have to, I need to, I should. This is where we're actually putting a lot of weight on us and making life like energetically too, we're making life so much harder, or what we want to do so much harder, just with the words that we're saying to ourselves. So yeah, I totally love that you say pay attention how you talk to yourself. And
Yeah.
Also, when something goes wrong, instead of beating ourselves up that
Yeah.
it goes wrong, we just say, okay, what do I learn from this now? Okay,
Mhm.
that didn't go the way I wanted. What do I
Mm.
learn? How I could do it different next time? Or how can I save it? Or how is this turning out even better than I wanted? Because maybe we don't see that it actually turns out better
Right.
because we're so focused on it doesn't turn out the way we wanted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's you have, I think, to sum up, I would say you have a lot more control than you think. And if you control what you can control, which is yourself, right, and pay attention to that, and really learn about your energy and what works for you, then time management doesn't become an issue at all, really.
Yeah. What would you say where you are on that scale between 1 and 10 with time management?
With time management, I want to say a 9. Because I do, I feel really good about, you know, accomplishing whatever I want to accomplish. Now, occasionally, perhaps you might catch me on a Monday morning when I actually do have a list of things, and I can notice the anxiety start to build, and I might be at a 2 or something like that. But then I immediately shift my thinking to, you know, who's saying I have to get all this done? Nobody's saying I have to get all this done. What is it? What's the most important thing for me to do that will make me feel good? And then I'll get that done. And before I know it, I've gone through most of the things on my list. So I feel really good about where I am.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I think you make a good point here, just to summarize everything too, or to make the last point. It's not that when you feel like you have time management, like you feel really good about time management, doesn't mean you're always at a 9 or a 10, and we're like, we're not machines. That's where we're saying too. It's like you're listening to your energy, and if you can be on in a 2 on Monday morning, or for me, Monday morning is nothing to dread. So I'm probably not low on a Monday morning, but I can be low sometimes on a Friday because I'm tired, something like that. So that doesn't mean we're always at the high level. It just means also that you know how to get out of a low level without beating yourself up, or without starting to procrastinate and avoid and waste time with silly things.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot more control than you think. So
yeah, totally.
Just think of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, let's do this again. I enjoy these conversations, and
me too.
Yeah, would love to hear from people, whatever you think
leave
about
comments below.
Yeah,
tell us your struggles. Tell us where you are on the scale between 1 and 10.
Yeah,
or what works for you. Tell us what works for you.
Yeah, let us know how, if you apply any of these things we're talking about, and what the results are. Just love to hear.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, thanks for persevering with this, Connie.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and you all have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.